Sledgelords, we got a guest this time. His name is Jason Ellis. We were dragging him through the mud on a prior episode of this podcast.
That's how you're gonna do it.
Because we are people who flirt with comedy in the sense that we I interview comedians. Danny does his sort of comedic vlogs that stand up like 2 times.
You've done it twice.
4.
4 now.
About 4 times.
All right.
So
if anybody would know comedy, it would be you.
You got me there, Mr. Ellis.
Tell him.
And I want to say that we weren't. I don't feel like we were.
Cussed.
You were poo-pooing on his homosexuality, not his comedy.
Poo-pooing. That's cool.
I
I'm
was.
gonna use that.
I took a dookie on your comedy. That's what I'm denying. Because here's what I think. I liked your set. I thought it was energetic and a lot of fun. The truth is, Mr. Ellis, I have recently been looking for any excuse possible to play around with my Australian accent. And that just seemed like a great up. Yeah, I get up there and he puts his tallywhacker in my caboose.
Yeah.
I cleaned it up, right? First 5 minutes. First 5 minutes of the show.
Yeah, I don't know. Seemed like...
It was a surprise for me.
I get it. I feel like I don't know your career, but I know you're doing really well. And I remember when I was coming up, I don't think I had anything to say about anybody that wasn't involving some kind of stab. I was trying to be entertaining. I was pretty sure everything that came out of my mouth was hilarious. So yeah, the guy's he's really swell and he's a very nice person. That's a lame thing to say. So you got to spice it up.
Well,
But
the guy came up to me and said, "Are you the bisexual one?"
Am I what?
A guy came up to me and said, "Are you the bisexual one?" Or no, a girl actually
At the
comedy show because she thought I was you.
What is that?
I was hyped.
Like you've got we don't look like each other at all.
I didn't know what she meant.
There are some
Someone brought that up.
similarities. What are you
My
talking
girl
10 years
started
ago.
dying laughing immediately because she knew right away, but I didn't know.
When I had a show on Sirius, someone said, "You look like Adam 22," and I said, "Who is that?" I didn't know.
I get compared to
And then
every
they
white
showed
guy
me.
with tattoos.
What's that?
If you're white and you have tattoos, people will compare me to you.
Yeah, because that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have hair.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
It's fake.
I'm missing it.
I got it implanted into my head.
Did you really?
You became so much less scary since he's developed hair.
2 hair transplants.
I would not be willing to do this podcast with you and sit across from you week after week if you were still bald.
The skinhead thing was a lot.
It was so much.
Yeah.
And I want to reiterate again, Mr. Ellis, I did not mean any disrespect when I was imitating your comedy. It was I wanted to play around with my Australian accents, and you did say a good deal about tallywhackers in the caboose, and that's all that popped into my head.
I mean, it was only a 10-minute set, so I could only do one of my jokes. And to answer your question, because you said, I'm not sure if he has any more than that, it kind of seems like that's his whole life is talking about.
Well, I was just wondering
being
like
butt
how
fucked.
you approach that.
I'm just adding the 2 times I've been involved with you. In the first show, it was like, why would I do it? I'm not sure what. Like even
We got
your
to do
fans,
this again. We got to do this again.
your fans were bummed at you. I
They
didn't
were.
read
My
it,
fans were mad at me.
but I did think that you were, because I know that you do stuff only for money. You say
This is not true. What are you talking
that's
about?
what you were telling me. You were like, why would you do comedy if you're not going to get a bunch of money?
No, this is my question, was what was driving you to want to get into comedy? And I felt like you weren't really answering the question.
Right. So what is it that you think I'm doing it for?
That's what I want to know.
You have
dick.
no idea.
But you still haven't given me an answer.
Wait, but I thought I said because I loved it. It scared me, and I don't have to go to hospital if I fail.
You said that it scared you, and that you felt like you were confronting, something that you were intimidated by doing. And my response was basically like, there's a ton of stuff that I'm intimidated by doing. I wanted to know exactly why you were doing it. Like, what you felt it was fulfilling in your life. Somehow that got construed as like an attack, which I really didn't feel like I was doing. Now it's possible that I was wrong. Maybe if I
you're not
rewatched
taking
it.
my answers. You're like, no. What is the real reason? Like, it kind of seems like you're saying that I'm not being honest with why I'm doing comedy.
I just feel like it's scaring you. It can't be the whole answer because there's a lot of things that are scary. Why don't you go run with the bulls?
Well, that's easy. I'm hurt.
I'd enjoy that.
All I ever do is stuff where I get hurt.
I'm just saying I
So
don't think
pick
that's a
something that's
complete
scary.
answer. There's got to be a little
Tell
bit
me
more.
another thing that's scary that if you do it wrong, you don't go to hospital. Tell me one.
Ballet dancing.
Masturbating in front of a kindergarten.
Exactly.
Right.
That's lame.
No, but ballet dancing is like, or
lame.
Become a professional bowler. I bet you're gonna
I
get. You're
don't
gonna be
want to-
so nervous every time before you go out there to
because
bowl.
I don't like bowling. I don't care.
Right. Everybody likes talking in front of large groups of people. I guess.
Man, it just seems like I'm fucking old, and I want to do something that's scary and a challenge.
All right, Mr. Foulmouth there. I think we're past the 5
We're
minutes.
way
said
past
shit.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're swearing now.
I
cunt.
just kind of, all my friends did it. And I was like, why don't I try it again? I felt really bad at it, and then I figured something out, and I was like, I can work on this and be a million times better than I am right now, creating. And it
See,
scares
I feel like
me,
this
and
is a
it's
better answer
challenge.
than what I got on the first podcast.
I feel like it's the same answer.
I feel like it's a lot more in depth.
Maybe it was because you kept going with the money thing. You kept saying that if there's no money, why do it?
I was speaking on a personal level of why I wouldn't pursue comedy.
Yeah.
Is because I don't really see how it could be a good business for me, even if I became fairly successful at it in comparison to YouTube creation.
Yeah, well, you're very successful. I'm not. I'm failing. I was 10 times bigger than all of you assholes, and now I'm falling off the cliff like an old piece of shit.
Do you feel like that?
Fuck yeah, I do.
Like you're
I can't believe you had me on here.
really?
This will
What's
do
happening?
the worst numbers you've had.
You're
out
the
of all
first
your shows.
comedian that we've ever had on here.
What's happening with your career? How is it falling off a cliff?
Because he was on Sirius
Yeah,
XM
Sirius
radio
shot
for all
me.
those years.
And I had I was making a lot of money,
How much were you making?
like $1 million a year, maybe more.
That's a good amount of money. And did you save your money wisely?
No. I had a divorce, so I gave my ex-wife all the money, and then when I finally paid off her and the back taxes from not paying back taxes because I was paying her,
There were a couple of years where you
then I
weren't
got
paying.
fired.
You weren't paying any taxes for a couple of years while you were
Well, I
paying
had
off
to
your
pay
ex-wife.
her half of my money, so I couldn't pay taxes. Mm-hmm. And then I paid her, and then I paid back taxes. Like every month I had to give a little bit because I obviously didn't have it all. And then once I got a clean slate, my business manager's like, "You are officially in the clear. Like you have money in savings." And it was the first time in my whole career that I had money in the bank and no debt.
How much did you have in savings at that point?
Probably like $500,000.
Good amount of money.
Yeah, and
To
then
be
I
sure.
spent all that on podcasting.
On equipment, cutting edge stuff. You were slamming your cameras.
I spent it
earlier.
on studios and paying for promos because the company that I was working for didn't do promos, so I paid somebody else separate,
What are promos?
like for the Instagram.
Like highlight reel
Yeah.
clips to post on Instagram?
Yeah.
You spent $500,000 on this?
Well, no, just that's one of the things.
Oh, okay.
Just spent all my savings on trying to make it work.
And you
So-
feel like it's not working?
Not really. I mean, it's doing okay. It's not bad, but it's not doing what I expect it to do. It's pretty average.
Interesting.
What's average? How many views per podcast?
Well, a good one is $250,000, but the bad ones are like 40. And I'm like, dude, 40.
But which ones do bad? Because like for us, I do interviews all the time with people that'll get like 40K if it's just not somebody that has like a real viral hook to bring people
Oh,
in.
really? You do?
Yeah.
I feel way better.
The thing is, though, he does
Yes, I'm not joking. I feel so much better about my life.
he does 20 pieces of content a week, though, minimum. So one that does 40 is a little bit less of a big deal.
But a lot of the underground rappers, I'll do them and they'll get 40K and then they'll have $500,000 a couple of years later or whatever. So it's all kind of
Is they-
long
when they
term.
pop off.
But then sometimes they don't.
Yeah, I still don't understand it exactly, like how podcasting works. I feel like a lot of my fans are the old Sirius XM fans who still find podcasting to be,
Confusing.
yeah. Like, how do I do? What do you mean download? I'm like, click it, touch it with your finger, and it'll play.
Unlike you, we have never met a Sirius XM subscriber in real life, right? I
I've
don't
tried
think.
multiple times to subscribe to satellite
Really?
radio, and I can't figure it out, and I just stop.
Well, you're not
It's
missing out.
that bad of a business
I've
model.
never even considered that. I've had a few rental cars back in the day that had it like
That's
pre-installed.
that's what they're made for.
Opie and Anthony, Howard Stern on
Cars.
deck.
You
I
buy
would be
a car
listening to
and you
Shade
get it.
4-5, the
Yeah.
Eminem station.
That makes sense.
Just-
Rude Jude.
I didn't know what the fuck to listen to, so
Jude's
I figured
awesome.
I'd just check that out.
Yeah, Jason, I think the beauty of this business, and I wish we could have made this obvious earlier to you is that you can get started with such a little investment. It's not like opening a bakery, or it's not like trying to start your own law firm where you need to buy office space or pay rent or anything. I started my YouTube channel with a cell phone. And there was no upfront investment.
This is fucking Carson Daly over here, who's been used to the lush lifestyle of being supported by Sirius XM and treated like gold, and just brought through the town square in a gold throne.
Mm-hmm. They never did that. Like they really didn't.
But I'm assuming you felt like you didn't want to just start with a fucking wood table in the corner of a plain room or whatever. Yeah, his studio is in the basement of his house. It's a good studio, but it's not like anything super crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I had to move and then buy and then get a new studio, so that costs a bunch of money again because I don't know how to set up studios.
Yeah,
I'm real bad at that.
Me neither.
Mm-hmm. So there's just and then we had to move podcast production companies because those guys weren't doing anything, and now we have these guys that are telling me that they're going to do a bunch of stuff, so I'm giving it a go again. Mm-hmm. Back to scratch though. We have to go back to we have to wait till next year to get reads again because we left at the very end of the year, so it's a bit of a struggle. The Patreon for the Jason Ellis Show does really well.
Really?
What do you make in a month?
Like, am I supposed to just say that?
Yeah, it's fine.
I wouldn't.
Really?
I don't say it.
Oh, well then, yeah.
That's because you're vastly successful and it's ostentatious.
For how big the podcast is, the Patreon is really big.
Nice. Well, that's great.
Because it's the Sirius XM people that go, I only know how to listen if I subscribe. So you give them a subscription and they do
Is the porn thing just like a creative pursuit, or is that like, oh shit, I guess I gotta slang some dick to help pay the bills?
I mean, I was already on there with my wife as like a support dick, and every now and then she would have some friends that would want to jump on it as well.
I've seen him with his chick, his wife, and
current wife or ex-wife?
Current
one,
and then he also has an ex-wife apparently. But then
She's
also
a nice
3
person.
chicks, including one that I have previously spent time with, all having a whole romp.
Wow.
And he's tagged in it. He's retweeting it. I'm like, okay, Jason.
You're making love to 4 or 5 women at once?
I wouldn't say love. This was like a cat fucking another cat. It was vicious. It was an assault.
A lot of hissing, a lot of claws.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
And do you have a large penis, Mr. Ellis?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Is he, Adam?
Apparently, I don't know.
You haven't seen? I thought you've seen him have sex with 4 girls.
You haven't seen it?
I just don't even remember.
It's
so
not like
I don't want to like describe
it's
it.
just
right
like
listen
for porn. It's just it's not small, but it's not like
That's how I
whoa.
feel.
Because these days,
Yeah.
I feel like there's just like rock hard 12 inches out there, and I'm not that.
But
Makes the grade, though.
I didn't think, oh, look how small his dick is, so it's probably all right. Because normally my mind
bigger
goes
than
to,
yours.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh hell.
What, is that a serious remark, or are you slandering my co-host?
No, I'm serious. I've seen his dick. I follow his shit on OnlyFans.
I just still don't think that was a cool thing to say across the chair.
Yeah, but I'm trying to even it up because I fuck with Adam 22. Just not sure if he's actually like serious about any. I don't know. I feel like you're trying to. What you really were trying to say is I'm doing comedy to try and help the podcast.
No, that's not at all.
That's a valid reason to do
I
comedy.
haven't even
though.
thought of that.
That's a great reason to do comedy.
Listen,
Yeah.
okay.
You don't get good for 10 years. By the time I'm good,
Listen,
podcasting.
This is
Jesus.
what I was trying to get at.
be
I was
dead.
trying to decode your motives because quite often in the comedy world, in the stand-up world, we have conversations, or I overhear conversations on other people's podcasts about people maybe not being into stand-up for the right reasons, sort of trying to figure out why they're getting into it. There have been some very high-profile cases of people getting into stand-up, and then the whole comedy world sort of comes together to have a fucking conversation about why this person's doing it, if they deserve to even be in the positions that they're in.
Brennan Schaub, Steve-O, those conversations have been had.
And I was just trying to get at, like, you know, what,
I think
in what way are you
loves
approaching
comedy.
this?
I'm not hating on it. I'm just
I
saying
think
objectively.
Steve-O-
That didn't stop the entire comedy world from stopping to have a conversation about
Well, I
him
think
for
the
a few
difference is he
weeks or
had
months.
some specials when maybe he shouldn't have, according to all the other comedians. I'm not trying to shit on him.
Right.
Just having a special that early, from what in my little amount of career, having a special that soon is kind of ridiculous.
Definitely out of the ordinary.
And then to have a second one that also didn't do that well, everybody's going to shit on him for that. But the fact still remains that he like packs out comedy clubs, and
He's doing his thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think he's still doing really well.
He's getting shit on too because of the way he looks. The way he looks and carries, he's a guy who gets pussy. As a guy who gets pussy in comedy, you got to tread carefully.
Hey, he might.
Is Schaub still in the hot dude category though? Because he's definitely like a Chad in the traditional sense, in the sense that he's a big, strong guy. He can clearly beat the shit out of you. You know, he'll probably been able to get ass his whole life without a whole lot of work. Obviously, that kind of opens the door for you to get shit on. Whereas, like in comedy, you know, quite often we see the like 5'5" guy with glasses. He's Jewish.
It's
he
a
weighs
sad
98
world.
pounds.
Comedy's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why Joe Rogan always wears long sleeves and why comedians used to wear tuxedos and suits. They wanted to be as neutral and as blank of a slate as possible. Because as a comedian, when you start coming out with bracelets and a really expensive hair product and you pulled up in your Porsche, you immediately become a little bit less laughable at. You got too good of a life, people perceive.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that happens in the back rooms of comedy clubs everywhere. Look at your shoes. You're a piece of shit. Nice sparkly bracelet, douchebag. They rip on each other constantly. So when you give the audience something to judge similarly, I think it detracts from the blank slate of what a normal comedian used to be.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because to come up in comedy, if you're just some guy or some girl, there's a lot of hard times ahead before you get a spot. Like if you're headlining or you're doing a fucking special on Netflix, you've been around, and people like us can skip the line. But I'm not trying to do that. I've been good at stuff. I know what is important about being good at stuff. It's not, I know you care about the money and all that, but I
Again, quit taking shots at my co-host. What does that mean?
No, okay.
What are you going to fucking do about it?
I'll throw
What
it
is
out.
wrong with going in the direction of things that you see as generally being profitable, especially when in the case of YouTube, from my perspective, part of the reason why I was always drawn to YouTube is because I could have a very big influence on YouTube. It would be a good thing to build a business upon because of the fact that a lot of viewers seem to be on it.
Okay. In comedy, I feel like out of all the things, because I'm uneducated, I'm not the most stable human on the planet, comedy seems like something that I could be really good at. And I'm very interested in it. YouTube, I don't think it would be a good idea for me to make a heavy press on YouTube. I just don't think I'm likable to YouTube people. I think I'm old and
I mean,
I don't know.
how much content are you going to make? You know, you're already doing a couple podcasts a week. It's like at a certain point, I would agree that it's like probably the answer isn't like, oh, I should do 7 podcasts a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people want me to go back to what I used to do on Sirius and do 5 shows a week. But with the Hawk podcast, and now we have a Patreon as well, it wouldn't. I don't want to add another 3 shows. Well, actually 2 shows, I just realized, because I do a Patreon show twice a week and a pod for the Jason Ellis show. So it does add up.
You feel drained?
Fuck yeah. I do my own show twice a week as well, a solo show Thursday and Friday. So I do a show every day.
I've been dying to ask Mr. Ellis something. Mr. Ellis,
Why do you have to keep calling me Mr. Ellis?
we
He's
can submit
intimidated.
into evidence, Mr. Ellis, that you are bisexual.
Here we go.
I figured
Yeah.
this was coming.
If I don't know why this just keeps bouncing around in my head. I can't get it out. If I were to just rush you in the parking lot with my wee out,
Yeah.
what'd you do?
Define rush.
I mean, if you came running at me with your dick out, I'll give you, if you get within arm's reach, I'll probably punch you in the face.
There'd be no sexual
Or grab you by the
inclination?
neck, put you on the ground, be like, what are you doing?
you probably wait. What belt are you?
Oh, jiu-jitsu?
Yeah,
Blue belt.
I outrank you. Perfect.
I outrank you.
Taking you down, son.
There's no way that he saw that coming because everybody in this office was surprised at some point when they realized that he actually had some serious jiu-jitsu background.
My
Yeah, but
X-guard
that doesn't-
sweep.
You're right. That doesn't mean anything.
You're not a fighter.
If
How do
you
you
like
know?
jiu-jitsu? Because I know.
I'm going to defend him. How dare you say that about my
How dare you
co-host?
all I want to submit to evidence, once again, Mr. Ellis, is that if I wanted to rape you, I could do it.
I'll bet you all the money that I have.
I'm not sure that's very much.
It's still not bad.
I'm just joking. You did spend the whole start of this podcast degrading your financial situation, though.
Yeah, compared to what it was, it's not as good.
I'm with you, dude. You see the car I drove
don't
up?
wanna
My
go
car is
down.
a piece of crap.
But you see how he's hanging out with comedians and shit because he comes in here and has no qualms about immediately letting us know, like, yeah, you know, I'm kind of unsure. I don't know how things are going, which is like so not how I think of it from my perspective. If there's something that's going very badly, I'm just going to avoid talking about that. Always be hyping yourself up. Always be faking it before you make it.
Oh, whoops.
But I respect that you come in like that because I don't, my brain isn't tuned to that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's over. I just think I got to make some adjustments and it's all going to be fine again.
It sounds like you're doing pretty well. If your Patreon's killing it, Patreon is my biggest source of income, and
me too.
it's such an important lifeline. That subscription model, as Adam, you know too very well through OnlyFans and Patreon, very, very powerful. It sounds like that's a great base income to work off. I like that you're doing stand-up. You say it's going to take 10 years to get good at stand-up, but you've been performing for a long time too. When they say it takes 10 years to get good at stand-up, that's for the schmo who graduates college, moves from Oklahoma to Los Angeles, and starts doing open mics. You already have a skill set that's going to translate to stand-up comedy and expedite things a little bit. And the more comfortable you are performing in front of an audience and seeing in real time what's funny and what's not, that can't help but bolster your podcast.
I like how you pointed out that he was bisexual and then completely forgot to continue on with that thread.
He knows I'm going to rape him. He knows he's unsafe in the parking lot of this facility.
I don't think he could rape me if I had my hands tied behind my back.
Do you think that Shaq could rape you if you were
No.
trapped in this room with him?
No.
Why? How?
Because I can fight.
He could knock you unconscious. You don't think you could
Good
beat up
luck.
Shaq?
You got to touch me first.
Why Shaq? Like, he's massive.
You said Shaq.
Yeah, but why? Like, why do you think you could beat up Shaq? I think that Shaq could whoop my ass. And I think if I was 10
I've seen
times
Shaq
stronger,
box. I feel like I could beat him.
I think he would smother you.
Why would
He's huge.
Mr. Ellis, you would fuck Shaq willingly.
You're not going to be able to reach Shaq's fucking
Am I
head.
supposed to fuck him or fight him? Which one do you want me to do?
Ideally,
I want you to
both.
fuck him.
I'd like both to be involved.
Only if
too.
he wanted to.
I say you fuck him, then fight him.
I'm not a raper.
What is your type, though, Mr. Ellis, to get back to the
Well,
bisexual?
no,
but
but-
he told me when I did his podcast that I wasn't his type.
Really?
Well, you're my friend.
Right.
So, and you're straight.
It was just such a weird moment for me to like realize like, oh, this is this awkward little like thing that he has to sometimes deal with. And for me, I'm like so woke and so loving of gay people that I would have never even thought of it.
Are
But
you really?
Well, I feel like I'm experienced enough having been around gay people that I don't need gay people to clarify to me that they're not trying to fuck me. But
Wait, that happens?
I feel like a lot of heterosexual people, like when you ask them about gay people, their response will basically be like, well, that's cool. Just don't try to fuck me. And it's like, okay, that's not really like how it works. Like
Kinda homophobic.
average gay person's not like trying to non-consensually have sex with straight people.
I need to work out my gay muscle a little bit, my gay tolerance muscle. I've never.
You find us annoying.
No. Well, just I used to work in restaurants, and whenever you work in a restaurant, half the staff is gay.
Yeah.
So I was so comfortable around gay people from the year like 2015 to 2019. Like all my coworkers were gay. A lot of my good work friends were gay. We would talk about gay dates, gay problems, gay sex, all of that. But now that I'm in this insular world of YouTube, I'm around almost no gay people, and I feel like I'm missing that in my life a little bit. I need some more like gay bicep curls. To be like, because now I am like, I think Jason might want to have sex with me, and I never would have assumed that if it were 2016 and I was working in a restaurant.
Yeah, you got to get those reps in.
I gotta let him fuck me a couple times.
I really don't.
See, that is kind of the problem with you, though, is that you don't present bi at all, right? Like, do you ever feel like maybe you should like introduce some stuff because it's kind of like a thing, like
Introduce.
well, like gay people have to sort of like peacock to let other gay people know that they're gay, right? Now,
Do they?
But you are a bisexual dude who's in a relationship with a woman, and you present yourself without really much. I mean, I don't know, the rings and the tattoos. This is all hetero stuff, right?
Except for when he takes the stage at the Hollywood Improv. You better cock up your ass, mate. Three this way.
But that's like the whole bit is that you don't know that that's coming, and then you find out, and you're a little bit shocked because this dude looks like he's in a fucking metal band, right?
Yeah. It's definitely it catches you off guard.
Yeah. So give us your thoughts on this.
I just think that everybody's lying. I'm not the only one. There's a bunch of straight people out there that like getting sucked off by dudes and doing whatever they want to do.
Well, you probably actually know that since you're in the club now.
Yeah, well, I have a lot of trans friends that have a lot of straight boyfriends. So
Right.
that one was a big tell because I feel like most of their boyfriends are straight. And I'm like, whatever. I don't want to piss off any trans people, but
But that's a thing in rap where there's like a few rappers who have been
with
pretty
Tiger
much.
or some shit.
You said it, not me. But
Wait, you're not supposed to say that?
I mean, it's just
I got a trans friend that she said she was dating him, but she's obviously probably lying.
right. But okay, a ton of people have said that, and
Yeah.
somehow it doesn't really like.
Does he admit it?
No.
Why not?
It doesn't become news in rap for some reason.
Trans
There's,
chicks
like,
are hot. The fuck?
Yeah. But
Each to their own.
I don't know.
I guess.
Hey, I'm saying like it's kind of like a weird.
You've never seen a trans chick, you were like, damn.
I've been like, whoa, that person looks like a biological woman. This is an impressive cosplay going on here. Yeah.
Impressive.
What
cosplay.
about full surgery? Would you do that?
No, it's not really for me.
I got Mr. Ellis. I got sucked into a trans sexting incident when I was in college. This was in 2010, where trans was a very fringe thing going on. When I would see back then, the phrase "she-male" was acceptable. Which remember the good old
I miss
days
that.
when you could say "she-male," but you would see
We've
she-males.
lost so much.
A lot of culture is under attack, but we would see them crisscrossing around the gay districts of Sacramento, my hometown, and that was the only trans experiences I had as a boy. But then one of the hottest girls I'd ever seen up until that point in my life added me on Facebook. Long flowing hair, big fake titties, beautiful tan, gorgeous Kim Kardashian-esque face, clearly the product of a doctor.
And you
but still-
realized it was Kyle from your 9th grade math class.
Not until I sent my penis picture to Kyle, rather. And then she was like kind of dogging me on the size of my cock, and she was like, I need 8 inches at least.
Yeah, I knew it.
And then she sent... I'm sensing some anger from you, Mr. Ellis. But then she sends me a
knew it.
photo, and
not
there's
angry.
like...
If you attack him, that'd be great because that would be like a refute. All right, never mind.
Dude, she had a slink. She sent me a picture of her.
If I start punching you in the face on the couch, I know what you do. I saw your video.
Take 5 minutes to get up and then casually try to intervene. But dude, she had a fucking slinky, like something the size of that Starbucks cock, dangling down because it was an ass picture, but the cock was dead. So it was taken in the mirror from the back, but I could see what was dangling down past the buttocks.
Yeah.
And I was still, I didn't believe she was trans still because it was such a foreign concept to my little 20-year-old brain.
Yeah.
I thought she photoshopped it, and I still wanted to fuck her.
Yeah.
And are you asking if I would get my penis sucked by her knowing she was trans? I don't know.
No.
It depends on how much I've had to drink. I think that's what you were maybe thinking.
Oh. If you don't want to, that's fine too. I totally get it and understand it. I mean, I was straight. You know? I was.
Past tense, you're married.
I was
Your wife's not going to want to hear
I was
this.
positive that I was straight. My whole life, teens to 20, 25, maybe even 28. 2 times I took a bunch of ecstasy and hooked up with a trans person. So I thought, you're just a junkie. Like if you take so many drugs, at one point, if you're still conscious, you'll let anybody blow you. So I wasn't gay. I remember having a discussion with 2 gay guys at a house where I was there to have sex with men. Am I gay? And one of them was like, no. And the other one was like, I think you are. And I was like, if both of you could come to the same conclusion, I would believe whatever the conclusion is. Because I really didn't know.
That's amazing that you were rolling around in circles in which merely having sex with a man or multiple men would not mandate that you are gay. Because in this office, I'm pretty sure that amongst the vast majority of the hosts, the understanding is that really even just like the slightest attraction to men, even if you don't act on it, is pretty much...
What is so bad about it?
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm
Yes,
just
it
saying
is.
that we're
People
on
don't
high
want to
alert
admit
for
that
it.
they might be or might not be. Like, who cares?
I think...
Not me.
Like, you still like me, which is super
I like
odd.
you. Yeah, I'm just
I know.
having a conversation
I don't know
with
why
you about
text
this.
Me and shit. Every time you text me, I'm like, does he know? Maybe my name's like written wrong.
See, that's
He
what
thinks
is
he's
weird
talking to
about being
somebody
friends
else.
with you is that you have this sort of like gay insecurity that like you think
Fuck
that like
yeah.
you're not going to be accepted by someone like me because you're.
I feel like you guys
I don't
don't
think of it like
catch the
that.
way you talk. Like the way you talk is like, whoa, I wouldn't do that, or this in this studio, no one's going to be doing this or that, because if they did,
That's my
I'm
rule.
They would be
speaking to
treated
the
differently.
cultural norms of the people that I hang out with. It's not like in this office. Obviously, there's like all kinds of people who work here. I'm just saying, like, if you were to take like the 10 main hosts on the channel, and if you were to ask them with a fucking lie detector test on them, like what their barometer is for what might be considered gay, their standard is so unbelievably low. Whereas you're rolling around with people who, even fucking men, might not necessarily make you gay. I'm just pointing out how interesting that is.
It's true. But if I complimented Flacco's shoes, he might call me an F word.
right?
You pulled a cock out of your mouth and asked a man if you were a homosexual, and he gave you a negative answer.
Yeah, I really didn't know. I'm sorry.
Do you now that it seems like some time has passed since that incident in the bathhouse?
I know I'm gay now.
Can you break it down, because you're clearly a little bit straight too? Can you break it down into a percentage, which preference you have for which sex, which one dominates?
Yeah, I'm more straight.
Well, he is married to a woman.
Would you say is it 60-40? For every 6 women
Sure.
you have sex with, is it 4 dudes?
What, dude? Do you have to? No. What the fuck is that? I have to add how many people I have sex with.
I like
whoever wants
arithmetic.
to have sex with me that week who's been tested. Yeah, it could be all girls, could be all guys.
I'm just not sure.
I never added up where it's like, well, I fucked 3 girls this week, so I need to even it out and fuck a couple dudes. Like I like everybody. I like trans guys, trans girls. I think the correct thing is I'm a pansexual, because that's somebody that's into everybody. So I'm into everybody.
I think that the fear that somebody like Danny or I has is that perhaps you and I are no different. You're just a little bit more open-minded. Not a fear necessarily,
I think some
but
people
a curiosity.
I think some people are really not gay. Same as I have a kind of a, not really a boyfriend because I'm married, but I have a guy that we've been hanging out for years, and every now and then we hook up with Katie, with my wife, and for the first, you're finding it hard not to laugh. That's awesome.
I just recoiled. I did not laugh.
Recoiled.
I saw it. It was just shock. He wasn't
Anyway.
horrified.
He couldn't get it up for maybe 2 years around her. And then now he's sort of just become so friendly with her that he can keep it up because it's a pussy and it doesn't work for him. Really? Just like I would assume you guys around a naked guy trying to like, come on, just play around. You'd be like, look, I'm not mad at you. I just really don't want to do that at all. Okay? And that would be completely understandable. I do think that there's people that are on the scale a little bit, and because of society, they won't tap into that piece of themselves. And I might die tomorrow. If I feel like I might be interested in that, I'm going to check it out. Turns out I was right. I like it a lot.
Do you sense it all, Adam? I feel like you're defensive, as if you think Adam and I are judging you. I have no.
I'm just based
problem with
on
it at all.
watching your one show that he sent me, where you guys were talking about me in a way where I was like, is this a compliment? Because I kind of feel like you're shitting on me, but I took it as you're trying to be entertaining, and you tapped on it, but it wasn't. I didn't feel like these guys have got my back at all. I felt like,
I mean,
even you saying, I fuck with Jason Ellis, and I'm like, I'm so confused. I fuck with Jason Ellis. I'm not really sure why he wants to be a comedian. This guy's doing impersonations of me about all I do in my comedy set is how many dicks do I get in my ass? And I'm like, okay, yeah, fair enough. I guess that was the 10-minute set. But it didn't seem very flattering.
to me, it's like if I'm cool with somebody and I go watch their comedy set and we have a conversation about them afterwards, the worst thing that I could ever imagine would be me talking about their set and having to add this preface about the fact that I'm cool with them or that I fuck with them or that I think they're a good person or whatever. That to me is just like so painfully lame. I don't remember ever questioning for a minute when we did that episode that you would understand that, yeah, we're cool, we're friends. Yeah. Like I've fucking maintained contact with you on purpose over the years without ever considering that you would take it that way. So to me, it's like, yes, we were joking around about your comedy special in which you talked about sucking dick for a large percentage of it, which to me is just like, yeah, it's a comedy special. Of course, we're gonna have a comedic conversation about it. I didn't feel like we blurred the lines on if we actually fuck with you now or as people, though, or like he didn't even know you.
And
so.
also, I mean, people do impressions of comedians all the time. Like, how many times have you heard the "Why do they call it milk?" Like the Jerry Seinfeld. But everybody respects Jerry Seinfeld just because somebody is very easy to impersonate. And again, I've been playing around with my Australian accent. I wanted an excuse. I feel like me just doing a little impersonation of the act isn't at all negative. Adam, I brought in a picture of my erect penis to Adam on my second day of this podcast. He told me,
did?
yes, and he told me,
You might be gayer than me. I wouldn't do that.
perhaps, Mr. Ellis. That's why I
I'm
did threaten to
open-minded.
rape you in the parking lot. He told me my cock, if it were a poker hand, would be a 7-deuce offsuit.
I like that you haven't forgot that.
We'll never forget that. And he's
a
reminded
fantasy.
me many, many times of my physical shortcomings in that regard. We give each other shit. That's something that goes on. Doesn't that happen in the comedy clubs you're going
I think
to?
the difference is Adam does text me from time to time, but we've never hung out. It's always for a show.
But with him, it's even more gloves off because he doesn't know you. Like he should. Like if you're gonna
I
review.
understood him more than you.
Wait, so you thought I was more offensive?
Yeah, because you said it seems like that's all he does.
No, I was trying to just
That's
figure
kind
out:
of
is
his
this
thing.
like your only bit, or is this like how often do you do
Yeah,
it?
for the
I think that's a
record,
fair conversation to have, right?
I have other bits.
Well,
And then with not one gay bit, like a joke that's completely different.
right, but I just don't think that.
Several
I don't
of
think it's offensive to like dissect that situation in the sense that like I think I said during that like I could imagine doing a comedy routine that was like my version of that, where I'm talking about all these absurd things I've gone through in my life and stuff, and I was just wondering like how many other of those you have.
A lot.
The other one should just be the polar opposite. It should be super straight. Like, hey, who in the crowd loves getting pussy?
Yeah,
I can't
do.
get it
I
up
do
in the
one
vagina.
about fucking China.
Nice.
Yeah,
What's
and
the premise of the China bit?
Well, one time, a long time ago, I fucked her.
Oh,
And
you mean a literal the porn star China or the WWE?
the wrestler, yeah.
Okay, I
You
thought
fucked her?
I thought we were talking about
Yeah, I
the
thought she could
People's
defeat
Republic.
me.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
That
Okay.
is legendary.
She can't.
Okay. All
How
right,
much
that's
can
good.
you say about this? Because I remember
What do you
her,
mean?
like we when her porn leaked, I was young.
Yeah, I never saw that
never
until
saw it.
after, because someone was like, "Dude, did you see her giant clit?" And I
Yeah.
was like, "I didn't," and I ate her out. I don't remember going, "Dang, is that a penis?" Like I didn't jump away from it or anything.
Well, you're pretty used to penis.
Well, this was
I think
before
at
all
that time, maybe not.
Oh, she has huge tits, doesn't she?
They weren't that big. She was
She's ripped.
fucking jacked.
She has fake tits, but then
Big
she's
lats.
such low body fat that I feel
Yeah.
like they look. I don't know, but like
I love that look.
that's like a steroid thing, right? There's that the
Yeah.
enlarged clit thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
she went
both
hot.
girls. There's China. We have a photo of her here, not for you people.
I
but
really
for-
liked
pretty
her.
beautiful.
She's
Besides
a really
the whole
nice person
steroid
too.
thing, yeah.
The powerlifting chicks are hot. And when I was in
Yeah.
college, the chicks who were walking around on the rowing team and on the swim team, powerlifting was just as important part of their regimen as was swimming around in the pool or paddling in the pond. Huge asses, big muscular legs,
Yeah.
backs that were wider than mine. And it's
impressive.
I just wanted a girl like that to pick me up and just throw me onto the bed and make me call her
Yeah, me too.
something. I
Have
don't
you
know.
ever had sex with
Anything.
a like a bodybuilder, like a full blown,
Yeah.
like besides her?
Yeah, I had sex with a bodybuilder once at we went for a drink, and then she
I just want to. Okay.
had somebody
Female.
in the apartment or something. So she was like, I don't have anywhere to hook up. And I was like, I do know this gay theater on Santa Monica in Hollywood.
Chicks
I'm like,
love
it's
that
pretty
line.
trashy, but we could definitely fuck in there. And there's like different rooms. There's like, I think they've changed it now, but it was straight porn, trans porn, gay porn, and then in the big area, in the big theater, the main screen, gay porn on in there. So you go in different rooms, and it's usually not very busy. It's really dark. And I hooked up with her in the straight room, and a couple of people started watching because a lot of people like trying to jump in, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone else with a girl in there. So I started banging her, and she was like hands up against the wall, and I moved her. I think she had a jacket on or something, but I moved it to the side so that people could see that it was a girl, thinking that would kind of deter the crowd. everybody came into the room. It was like 20 people all watching, and when I finished, I got a standing ovation
Nice.
in the theater.
Little live sex show.
Yeah.
Wow. I love the mindset to take a girl to a theater. Like, I would much rather bend a girl over in a bush
I know.
or in an alleyway.
You're
I don't
such
wanna
an
get
old
caught.
school like sex guy, like just going to a theater, a Jack Shack.
I
You
do.
ever-
When we first found it, I went there with my wife, and we sat down. And as soon as we sat down, somebody started trying to blow me, and I was like, "Can I?" And she's like, "Yeah, go for it." So this guy's blowing me, and then I'm looking at my wife like we're kind of snickering, and then a dick just floats in between us, and he tapped it on her shoulder.
Your wife's shoulder.
Yeah, and she just started laughing.
Did she
She
blow
was
him?
like, "I'm not sucking that dick."
How do you not get offended by that? I feel like a guy putting his penis even within any vicinity of my chick. Right? I guess you go into that with like that in your head as like this is acceptable.
We went
Yeah.
back in there the next day, and she put a beanie on, and we bought one of those fake penises that you put in your pants that looks real to see if somebody would suck it. And then we both sat down, and somebody started blowing me, and somebody started blowing her, and realized it was rubber and bowed out of it.
You know, me and my girl don't fuck anyone who's not tested.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, this was a long time ago.
I know. I'm thinking about it. I'm like,
Because
holy
you
shit,
can't.
this is Russian fucking roulette
Yeah,
when
I
you're
got
out there,
bit-
bro.
I got bit a bunch.
Was this before the AIDS epidemic, mate?
Chlamydia and gonorrhea and syphilis. I got all of them.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, no, I'm very proud of it too.
that's just-
you know what's really cool about it? Giving it to your wife. That's awesome.
They love that.
Well,
Usually
what about when your
spouses.
wife gives it to you? That's a fun
That
one.
never
Even better.
happened because she's not a fucking trifling whore like I am.
She
but
did
my-
not suck that dick in that theater.
But me and my girl are monogamous besides the porn shit, and she goes off and does a 4 or 5 girl orgy one day with a bunch of chicks.
Yeah,
and
but they all
comes
get
back.
tested.
Yeah, but somehow one of them, she came back with something.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
'Cause I
It
thought-
happens, man.
I thought the two flowers were much less likely to transmit because there isn't that deep penetration. That's what I thought. But then again, also the vagina is a mucus membrane, which
Yeah.
makes it
There you
more
go.
transmissible.
I don't know what the fuck they were doing that was swapping fluids to such an extent that my girl was able to get the STD from her. But
my chick one time got from lesbian doing a group thing, got what is it? Some kind of infection where she had to go and take pills because her pussy got stinky from licking each other.
vaginal baganosis or some bullshit.
Something to where she was, I remember, very unhappy.
No,
about
I
it.
got one maybe 6 months ago from a big star, famous ass girl, super hot.
I feel like people get tested.
Yeah.
And some people get tested and they go out that night before and then they fuck a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Tons, yeah.
Yeah, so
That's why I'm so confused because I've done porn with Adam, not me personally, but people in my orbit have fucked in association with Adam or fucking people he knows in the industry. We've had to get 2 of the pass system tests. And in one case, the test was taken 4 days before the scene.
That's a long time.
Which you're in porn girl
It could be 2 weeks.
days.
That's
2 fucking
ridiculous.
weeks.
Yeah.
Because think about it, a lot of people in the industry are going out almost literally every night. And to expect them to not be fucking random people without a condom in 2 weeks.
Most of the girls I know now seem pretty fucking responsible, but when I think about my early days of hanging out with a lot of top porn stars, yeah, they were for sure like shooting huge scenes with famous fucking male talents for huge companies, and they were fucking rappers the night before.
yeah.
Raw.
Unbelievable.
And the rappers could have literally fucked 20 girls over the prior week, you know?
Do you? My girlfriend and I talk about this because my girlfriend's cousin loves having sex with rappers, and we actually a gentleman we mentioned earlier in the rap community who loves transgender individuals.
Yeah, Tiger.
My girlfriend actually has a my girlfriend
Allegedly.
my girlfriend actually has a
What is
story of a chick who has a committed relationship to a guy, like being Tyga's side bitch. She just cheats on her
Yeah.
boyfriend constantly with Tyga and
Yeah.
just rolls out of bed with him, like opens her phone, missed 10 calls from her boyfriend, goes back to him. But one thing I was curious about, it seems like there's a much higher threshold for cancellation in the rap community. Seems like rappers, it's sort of expected that they're going to treat women poorly, fuck a lot of chicks all over the place, versus if we conducted ourselves like that,
Yeah.
we would be canceled much sooner. Am I wrong?
Well, okay.
Well, I don't know about cancel, but if you guys are homophobic.
We are.
Not you. No, the hip hop
Right.
world
Okay.
is homophobic.
There was this
more
whole-
than other demographics.
There was this whole conversation that played out recently where I show Speed. What the fuck is his name? Speed, the Twitch streamer, this young black kid who's super popular. He was in Japan or some shit, and he's filming himself. And there's an Asian dude, and he's basically saying like fucking konnichiwa, yeah, like he's talking in the Asian accent to him. It's super rude, and he ends up like getting a lot of people super angry at him. And Destiny was talking about it, and Destiny basically acknowledged that. Look at like the low bar that is being set for this kid, because this is the kind of thing that if you had a white person doing this on camera with a fucking Asian person, the cancellation would be instantaneous. The
Tony
fact that
Hinchcliffe did it.
right, the fact that this is even considered
bad.
controversial.
Even though he didn't get canceled, but he did get in trouble.
Speed
there was
has a
a
lot
big
of privilege
hubbub.
there because he's young and black, basically, is the point that Destiny was making, is that like this is the kind of stuff that would be instantaneous cancellation for a lot of people.
Also, the left, the people who do the canceling, they think in terms of political identity and like skin color and race. And the top of the food chain, as far as like an endangered minority, is a young black man.
Right.
So, and Chinese people now are very prosperous in America. So I'm sure that factors into it too. They look at it as punching up. Speed was punching up. Was it Speed?
But
When he
now
got-
Speed is in the position of being this, millionaire Twitch streamer. So now they're looking at it as him punching down because he's in a position of power and he shouldn't be using his platform to dehumanize Asian people.
He's not really getting canceled, though, is he?
I don't know the extent to which he can really be
I feel
canceled
like this whole
because
cancel thing is kind of bullshit.
no, but he got canceled hard because he was doing stuff with the World Cup and they fucking canned him because they revealed old clips of him saying racist shit or creepy shit to girls or whatever. Like, I mean, anytime you're working with brands, it is fairly easy to be canceled because you really only need 10 or 20 angry ass people on
Yes.
Twitter to make that brand start to feel like it is not worth it for us to keep fucking with this guy.
But if you're more self-sufficient, like some comedians out there, they have a big podcast and they do stuff, because like Chris D'Elia and all those guys, they did some weird stuff and they're fine.
well, I think
stand up, Patreon, YouTube, podcast. It's hard to take all this shit away from you. And like, but Chris D'Elia is not going to get an ad from fucking MasterCard.
he's not going to get a Netflix
He's not going to get a Disney deal. Yeah.
You don't think he would get a Netflix special?
No.
Because I think he would.
He got scrubbed
No.
from Netflix already. I went and saw
Yeah, but
him.
I think they'll forgive him and let him come back. He sells out so
Who
many
have they
shows.
forgiven? They haven't forgiven anyone.
Mel Gibson. They forgave Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Different time.
Name like 17 movies this year.
Name a comedian who has been canceled and then was basically welcomed back into the woke ecosystem
about
of Netflix.
Kevin
Who?
Hart.
You name it. I'm
Kevin-
asking you.
Kevin Hart.
Fucking-
Canceled. What was he canceled for?
for doing for saying
the
homophobic
tweet.
stuff on
That's
10 years
tweets.
nothing.
after.
Sexual
And he's-
abuse is a different
What's the
thing.
guy that jerked off on people?
But
He's-
what
he
has he
hasn't come
done?
back mainstream
He hasn't been on
Huh?
Netflix.
Louis
He
CK.
just does his own shows.
Oh.
And there is a degree.
Wait, he didn't get a special recently?
He's done 2 on his own
On
that
his
he's
own.
released on his website.
Which you can do.
He has
they
made
do
an enormous
well?
amount of money. Yes.
Yeah, but when you're canceled, you get to do that. You get to do shit independently. You just
Okay.
don't get to get supported by brands.
Okay.
And
And
then-
is it that important anymore to be mainstream?
Well, if you're
I
as
feel like
lucky
people-
as him to have this gigantic fan base where you could sell out 20, 30, however many
What's
thousand
that?
tickets.
But he hasn't had a special since, though. Those were all
Yeah,
pre-cancellation. And I will say this, Jason. Chris D'Elia probably lost in potential earnings $20 million from cancellation because he had a prank show coming up on Netflix.
Okay.
He would have kept doing movies. And those acting gigs, it's probably like, hey, Chris, you've got 80 lines in this movie, $5 million. You want to come do it?
Okay.
He still kills it on his Patreon. He still, I'm sure, kills it on the road.
He's selling out. He's like one of the bigger guys right now, is what I hear.
But I feel like the exposure that he got from being on Netflix, from being an actor, from being on the Comedy Central roasts, that drove people to his shows and to his Patreon. And now it's harder to refill the bucket. His audience bucket it's the people that it was, and that's where it's going to stay. Maybe not forever. Times are changing. Elon bought Twitter, but
It's easy to imagine a comedian, up and coming, 10,000 followers, has the exact same thing happen to him that happened to Chris D'Elia. And keep in mind that Chris D'Elia has largely, I think, been exonerated of a lot of the worst of the accusations that were thrown at him during that whole like fucking flurry of accusations. You know, I think
I
that
agree.
for the most part, most of that shit didn't seem like it panned out. Was he maybe just being a little too horny and just like trying a little too hard to get ass and being a little too reckless?
It's just
Probably,
weird to
but
want to fuck people that young.
yeah, he was just being a hornball from that's what I ended up taking from it. But a guy who has 10,000 followers is just starting out their career, that even just having that attachment next to your name, a lot of people aren't going to really be open enough to like give you a chance and to continue to listen to you, I think.
I think it also ties into what we were talking about earlier. When you're a fuckable guy who gets pussy, the mob is out to get you. They hate Brendan Schaub. I think D'Elia caught a little bit of that too, because D'Elia.
Oh, they're all in the same group. Same with Callan. They're all fitter comedians that
MMA
are somewhat
fans.
attractive, and they're walking fucking boners.
Yes.
As soon as you're a hot, rich, famous comedian, you are a fucking target.
Totally agree.
That's really what it comes down
I mean,
to.
it's just, we've seen it over and over and over, where it's just like, and even like Brendan Schaub, like, I mean, the fact that a lot of people think that he has money from his family or whatever.
Wait, they do?
I mean, I've seen that floated in his
I
Reddit from
didn't
time
know
to time.
that.
I have no idea, but like,
The guy fucking works his ass off.
but
Whether you like
they'll
it or
take
not.
back
anything.
Schaub, dude. I
They'll
back
The
take.
dude fucking hates me.
Really?
What, Schaub hates you?
Yeah, because I fucking open my fucking dumbass mouth about shit.
Why? Oh, just talking about special or anything?
Because they did that thing where they were bullying Bobby Lee, and Bobby Lee was on his podcast saying that they threatened me. And when I heard that, I'd already called Cal and texted him and say, hey, man, I think it's really cool that you fucking just fessed up and said, because on his podcast, he was like, I called him. I threatened him. I acted like a fucking asshole. I feel stupid. I lost my control and I apologized. And I was like, man, that was really cool of you to do that, especially on your show. But then I heard that it was like a threat of violence. And I'm like, wait, you threatened Bobby Lee with violence?
Where did you say that? Once you heard that, where did you voice this publicly?
I did a show with a friend that's good friends with them, and I said it in the green room. And now that guy doesn't talk to me, and all those guys unfollowed me on social media. And I was like, oh.
The whole little Brendan Schaub mafia, all his boys?
I don't want to. Yeah, sure.
Damn.
I don't blame him. If you're not going to be 100% in support of them, I don't.
I just
know
feel like
where
that was
stand.
a
I just want out. I just don't want to be in a group where people do that.
That just feels like a situation where Brendan was getting so much shit during that at
really
a certain
was.
point, you just really have to kind of back off and be like, all right, whatever. Like, I'm just going to deal with the fact that everybody thinks I fucked up in this situation. Because, I mean, I just was doing the fight companion with Brendan, and I wasn't sure at a certain point if he was going to, invite me to do shit like that, because of the fact that I kind of said on one podcast that I didn't think a special was funny. And then he hit me up to do it. And I figured, oh, that's cool that he's the type of person that doesn't hold that against somebody. Now, the whole Bobby Lee thing was sort of a much different level of drama, whereas saying you don't think a special's funny is one thing, but that whole Bobby Lee thing was some other shit.
I think
That's
Brendan's
all.
a funny guy. I think he's a funny podcaster.
I think they're all very talented at what they do. I don't have any beef. I love Bobby Lee. I don't really even know him that well, but I don't know. He's got one of those things where I just want to help him, which is ridiculous because he's successful. He's got everything. But when I heard that somebody bigger was bullying him, that obviously could beat his ass, I'm like, man, that is some. Why would you do that? Like, if anybody who was a friend of mine did that it was close, I would call them and be like, hey, man, like, that's what the fuck?
Because think about what this is. This is like a conversation about geopolitics in the sense of like, when do you escalate beyond words into violence? And one good thing you could say about comedy is that for the most part throughout comedy's history there's been very little violence, that most of these problems get worked out with words, and that's a good thing. And that's one thing that sometimes bugs me about rap is you'll be having an argument with somebody online and then they basically turn the conversation into, well, I could kill you, or I could beat your ass, or I have more money than you. These are like stupid things that stupid people say in those kind of conversations. And I think that the comedy world, once they saw that people were basically like threatening Bobby Lee or whatever, they're right to revolt against that, right?
With the Bobby Lee thing, this is how I understand it. They thought, meaning Schaub and Callan, that Bobby Lee was either actively himself on their Reddit talking shit. Yeah, just for the audience, might not know.
Right.
Or Bobby Lee was endorsing people talking shit about those guys.
Right,
and the reason I'm a little bit more sympathetic to Schaub and Callan is I've seen the level of hate those guys get, especially Schaub, and it really kind of sickens me. I don't think Schaub deserves it. I think sometimes he can be a little too confident and a little too like, oh, I'm the man, fuck you. And it's like, dude, you do have to put in your time and earn your place in comedy. And I get that he's got the I get pussy thing going on and people don't like it. But a lot of the attacks that go on, there's this one where a guy devotes almost 30 minutes to explaining why Brendan Schaub is a piece of shit,
Yeah.
while a 3D rendering of Schaub's face is being
we all
made
seen that.
in caricature. And I just like, this guy is, the guy who did this is so angry, and this is so mean that I get why Callan would want to step in when other people are doing similar things to Brendan. Clearly it was wrong,
If
and he
you
apologized
thought somebody
for it.
was secretly running a Reddit in which they like had tons of different accounts in which they were shitting on you, if you sincerely believe that, is that the kind of thing that it might be fair to threaten violence against? I mean, I guess maybe I could see myself doing that.
Really?
Well, if I knew that somebody was basically like creating a shitload of different ghost accounts to have this like mass conversation about me, I mean,
Yeah.
if you really believe that, now is that anywhere close to reality? Was there ever a time in which it was actually fair for them to think that that was happening? That I'm not so sure about. But
He seemed to think that he had people that he hired that for sure knew that it was Bobby. I don't know.
Yeah, and
Seems like a
don't know,
nightmare.
man.
That's all I know.
it's bad, dude.
I wish everybody could all be friends, and I wish that sometimes words would stop coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
why? You don't want to be that kind of person, though. You don't want to
I don't
fucking
want to be
hold back and not
with
say
any
how
of
you
those
feel.
guys. Those guys helped me.
Yeah, but what's better, to fucking be a real person who just voices how you actually feel about shit versus?
Oh, I've already made my decision. I'm just saying that I sometimes kind of cringe at myself and regret it a little bit. But yeah, I know what I am. I don't want to hang out with anybody that's like that. If you haven't sorted your shit out, just do it over there. Because I can't. I hitting people. It's a silly thing to say.
I don't like it too. I've stopped because I used to talk a lot of shit about whoever. Top of
You
my
broke
head.
your ankle.
What's that?
You break your ankle.
What does that mean?
You got a scar on your leg like you broke your ankle.
Where?
On the inside of your fucking ankle.
Is this a gay thing?
Do you?
I can't tell.
Why does it have to be a gay thing?
How would you be able to see it? He has
Don't
socks
fucking
and
kick
pants.
me, motherfucker.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to kick you there, Mr.
Yeah.
Ellis.
I'll break it again.
I just wasn't sure if this was some sort of like gay
Fucking
community.
purple belt.
That's what it
Shove
comes
that
back
purple
to.
belt up your ass.
Comes back to
You
belt
ever heard
envy.
of that one where you punch somebody who's got a purple belt, then they go down to blue?
Yeah.
Let's set up a date in the dojo for us to all figure out what we're working with.
Okay. I remember your main attack is giving people staph infections.
Me suggesting
So I
this,
wouldn't want
knowing
to.
that I'm at
That's
the bottom
dangerous.
of the totem
Yours
pole.
might be giving people AIDS.
No, Matt, think about the reputation I gained when I was training jiu-jitsu.
So you've trained.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I gave a fucking dude who had been training for like years a staph infection
Well,
within
he
like
wouldn't have been his first.
a couple of weeks in though. Yeah, but he was like eyeing me just like, why am I on the bench for 2 fucking weeks when you total newbie just gave me a staph infection?
You rolled with staff?
Well, I mean, I had never had it before, and somehow this dude got it, I got it. I walked back in there.
Where'd you
He's
get
just-
it?
I had it a whole
Like
bunch
it
of
was a
times.
zit on you, right?
I think at that
starts
time
that way.
it was on like my knee, and this dude like had it on his forearm, and we had literally been doing a fucking
I've had
drill.
staff on my dick.
That wasn't staph, my
But
friend.
yo, we had been doing a drill where it was literally
MRSA.
like
It was the worst one.
had
us
MRSA too.
knocking our body parts together, and then those became the parts of our bodies that got the staph infection. So it was like undeniable.
Yeah.
I got it in my nose. I was doing a lot of coke, and I'm like ooze all the goop out of my nose.
That's great. Jiu-jitsu and cocaine. What mixes better?
Yeah, no,
It was a
that's
time in my life.
It's a
Yeah.
winning combination.
I'm actually still sidelined from staph. I'm still waiting
You
to
have
make my
staph?
comeback. I had it. It's basically gone now. But the holiday
Do
season.
not fucking touch me.
To me, that's
Mr.
almost.
Ellis, you're getting raped in the parking lot. Staff's the least of your worries.
I don't. I want you to try.
What if I did?
I really do.
I'm going to come at you completely naked with only my shoes on, a full-on boner. I'm just going to go,
You're fucking with the wrong guy. Like naked dudes with penises that are hard don't flinch me.
Yeah, how's your striking, Danny?
with my penis?
Yeah.
I can tell you don't do a lot because your nose is straight.
It's actually broken. It has been
Yeah, but
broken
it's
from a
not-
punch.
Yeah,
It's not broken enough to be good at striking.
your face is like
You guys both
pretty
skate
and soft
too.
and shit. It
I'll
hasn't
suck
been
your
hit.
dick.
You guys both skate too, which is another reason.
I don't
that
really know you.
have
I
this
guess
whole
you can
thing.
suck it.
Yeah.
You got a gay face.
Oh, I love this. Yo, definitely do that.
Suck his dick?
Roll together and give each other head.
Well, it'll be like one of those wrestling porns where it starts off a good sparring session,
Yeah.
5 minutes, IBJJF scoring, and then loser blows the other one. Which is
Yeah.
going to be you blowing me this time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, good luck.
He's a vert skater, and you have like done a heel flip, right?
I've done many kick flips and heel
We're
flips.
pretty even then.
You've never been on a vert ramp.
No, I used to fancy myself a transition skater. I'm avoiding the word tranny here because of the context it's been used in. But I was pretty good, dude. I got axle stalls. I got 50-50s. I got rock and rolls to fakie. One time I even did a really bitchin' indie
You've
grab
got
to
rock
fakie.
and rolls to fakie.
Yeah.
Just that sentence alone fucking excludes you from the game.
Oh.
Shut the fuck up. Rock and rolls, but to fakie.
Like it was a plot twist.
You mean a rock to fakie?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's like coming in here bragging about making out with a chick or something.
You can't
It's
beat
so
me
low level.
in grappling or any of that, and I don't believe you can drop in on a vert ramp.
I can't drop in on a
I think that
vert ramp.
story was bullshit.
I've never dropped it on a vert ramp. You're
I
right.
thought you
This was
said
like
you
a
could-
5-foot quarter.
This was a 6-foot mini ramp I did all these things on.
Oh,
I would never rock to fakie. Excuse me, rock and roll.
because I got
to
a
fakie.
ramp. We could have you there like tomorrow.
12-footer?
I love that idea.
I think it's 13,
Dude,
but it's
no.
very good. It's probably the best vert ramp in the world.
Dude, I don't understand.
Tony will help you. Tony loves helping people drop in.
On vert, he still,
Yeah.
to this day, has the passion.
Fuck yeah. One of his most favorite things to do is to say, "You've got it," and then you explode on the flat and we all laugh.
Dude, that's the thing about vert is
into it.
when you look down a vert ramp, so the coping hangs out over the ledge, therefore you can't see the vert. The vert is invisible. It looks like a ledge, and then
It's scary.
3 or 4 feet down, it looks
Oh,
like
yeah.
the ramp begins again, and it looks like you're just gonna fall down to where the ramp actually begins.
He's
Yeah.
that older than me right now. This is cool.
I'm not going up there.
Dude, I would love to. I would love to drop it on vert.
You never BMX'd a couple of grinds on a vert ramp?
No.
Not one time after all your BMXing.
You ever did a Superman?
I only even was around a vert ramp maybe like a couple times. And
okay.
And it was much later in my riding career when I had already definitely
When you
ruled
had
out
like
the possibility
a
of doing
brain. And you were like, if I do this, I'm going to hospital.
Dude,
Probably not worth it.
that. I don't even think I ever like properly aired a quarter. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Dude, a BMX
You're more
bike
of
drop
a
in?
curb guy.
Yeah.
All right.
Dropping it on a bike is so much gnarlier than dropping it on a skateboard on a vert ramp.
Skateboard's so much worse.
Dude, are you kidding me? Because if you eat shit on the bike, you're going over the handlebars onto your face. At least you can bail to your knees or your butt on the skateboard.
I can do both, and I'm a terrible BMX rider. It's yeah, the slam is worse if you do it wrong, but it is easier to do it.
on a bike.
Yeah.
because the bike has its own momentum. You're riding the bike. That's
Yeah,
the
you
whole
just
thing with a
gotta kinda-
skateboard is that you're barely riding the skateboard. It could just be gone from beneath you at any moment. And that is one thing that I noticed is that, like, okay, if you were going to bar spin El Toro versus kickflip El Toro, like, yes, it's fucking insane either way. But with a kickflip, like, a good skater is going to be able to roll out of that shit and be able, like, you're going to have to try that shit, like, a bunch of times to land it, you know? Whereas with the bar spin, like, I was there when this dude, Rory, bar spin El Toro for the first time. And it's like, falling on a fucking when you have your handlebars spinning in front of you, it's just so hard for you to land and not die.
Yes.
So skateboarding is harder, but in some ways it's easier to fall.
The
so
bail,
it kind of like
sure.
makes some stuff work better. I feel like
Yeah, you're not very good at bailing.
no, it's super hard to bail. on a
BMX
bike.
guys on vert don't bail. They just slam.
Yeah, you case your fucking tire and just explode. And
I've
it's-
always tripped out on that. BMX guys have knee pads when they ride vert, but they never knee slide. They just ride it into a shoulder block.
Mr. Ellis, did I ever tell you about the time I kickflipped a 5-stair?
tell us all about it. We got
That's pretty much it. I kickflipped a 5-stair. I was in 5th grade.
That's huge.
It's the best I ever did on a skateboard. I ollied an 8 and I kickflipped a 5. That was my mark on the scene.
Cool.
So I sense a lot of hostility.
yeah, tell me
from Mr.
more.
Ellis
I feel
still.
like we need to like just confront this head on about how you're feeling about both of us and just where we're at, Jason. Because I didn't really think we were coming in here to be this contentious. I thought you like,
Contentious.
yeah.
I'm being contentious?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to take the some of the guilt off of Danny as well, since he's provoking the situation. He's threatening to rape you in the parking lot and whatnot.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm not angry at anybody.
You do seem a little
I
bit
like you.
But you said that he was the one who was actually the more insulting when referring to your
I
comedy.
also said that I got it. I got why you were doing it. I didn't take it as like you know what really pisses me off? Jason Ellis. Like I know that you don't care. It just didn't. You were just kind of shitting on me a little bit, which is fine. I'm not.
It seems like it got to you, though. It seems like you don't trust me, the Dan man
Trust
over here on the
you.
couch.
Like trust you with what?
With it seems like we aren't developing any warm, fuzzy feelings between each other, despite everything we have in common. Minus
What
the
do we
gay
have
shit.
in common?
No, we both like to skateboard.
Martial arts.
We both do martial arts.
Oh, if you could kickflip a 5-stair, I mean, you skateboard. Like, you can skateboard. Jonah Hill
He
says he's a
said,
skateboarder.
I can do rock and rolls
Okay. That
to
was...
fakie.
Whatever, dude. I screwed up some terminology. Give me a fucking break.
That was a
Because you
little
don't
odd.
play the
12 years
game.
ago.
It's fine. You dabbled.
Dude, you should have
Congratulations.
seen me. You should have seen me in Potrero Skate Park in 2016, dude.
Yeah.
I was slashing the cope. I was slashing the deep end.
How old are you?
I'm 33.
Oh, you look great. I don't want to blow you. You just look great.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
even
it.
think
That
of
was
it.
the first sincere compliment he's given me.
I don't know. I didn't know I was supposed to give you a bunch of compliments.
That's kind of how our show works. Yeah.
Yeah,
People
look,
puff up our ego.
Yeah, you seem great, and you're obviously doing really well. And
People say that. That's very
You're
flattering.
not?
Well, pretty well. There are a lot of people who are doing
was
way
it your
better than me.
girlfriend was yelling at me on the street to ask if no, it wasn't your girlfriend. Somebody wanted me to teach her how to butt fuck your friend.
It's possible that either of our girls.
One
were.
of your other friends had a girlfriend, and she didn't know what I looked like, so she was just screaming my name on the street, and I was like, "Can I help you?" She's like, "Yes." How do you butt fuck? I
We
wanna
only
butt
came
fuck.
with Lena and his girlfriend.
And
So
also,
I'm
what
going
is
to
this-
assume you're talking about his girlfriend.
And also,
Oh, probably was then.
you're saying this like it's tied to my perceived level of success. I don't really understand how that works.
The success thing, I was just saying congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it's all right. It's okay. I mean, I'm not this guy.
It's all about who you compare yourself to, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not Drake.
So true.
I'm not a lot of people.
There are so many YouTubers that if I looked at, I don't know, how much they make in a day, it dwarfs what I make in a year.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like
Yep.
radio hosts, skateboarders, gay guys. There are better gay guys than you. It's just something you're going to have to live with.
Is there a better gay guy than me? I'm pretty good at it.
Well, we don't know, though.
Well, you seem resistant to the idea of hooking up with me, which a great gay guy would jump all over that.
Huge opportunity.
It's really big.
I don't feel it.
Okay.
But he's done double vaginal with guys.
I have done that. Where does that land?
Does that count as gay to you?
It's definitely something that I would probably not want to do, but I don't know.
Wait,
about
double
gay.
vat? Your dick and another dick fit in one lady's vagina?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think? Be honest.
I mean, your dick's not very big.
Or
That's
the
not true.
vagina is
I've seen dudes
colossal.
with the biggest dicks do this
Yeah.
in porn.
What do you have to say about that?
Oh, maybe it's huge, but that's great that you did that. You don't feel weird about it, do you?
No, I trusted the man.
Right.
I trusted the man, and it was something we were in a very nihilistic time in our lives
Yeah.
when we didn't have a lot of actual concrete, worthwhile goals to chase.
Yeah.
And so the thing that we would pride ourselves on is like how debauched.
Rubbing your dicks together.
How debauched can we be on a Saturday night? And yes,
Okay.
rubbing dicks together is like, and Adam and I were just talking about this last show. It's when you can get a girl to consent to something completely societally unacceptable as a young guy with nothing going on, that
okay.
you feel important.
Yep. Okay. Well, good.
See, he's very just, okay, thanks for, I feel like I said something relatively profound there.
Am I
and
supposed to
you're-
give
and
you
you're
a trophy
spinning-
for that sentence?
I would prefer your
fucked
watch.
You're a girl with your buddy.
We're
Cool.
bonding. We're finding common ground, dude. Why the hostility?
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, fuck yeah, man. We should definitely rub our dicks together. I don't want to do that. Is that okay?
No, it's not okay. You got to tell me why.
Because I'm not attracted to you.
Yes, you are. You said I had a nice face and I aged well.
Yeah. That doesn't mean I'm attracted to you.
I'm a purple belt. I do all sorts of things well.
Yeah. Those are not like boner things to me.
Oh, if you saw me do a kickflip, you'd be rock hard. It's like catch.
Are you sure,
land.
like when you say kickflip, that when you do it is actually a kickflip?
Dude, it is. It goes the back truck comes up so high.
I hate myself. I fucking am here, and now we have to talk about skateboarding and sucking dick. I wish I had something. I mean, I do have other
all we
things to
got.
offer.
That's all we got.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
What do you? Where do you stand politically? What do you feel about some non-sexual stuff in the world?
Yeah. What? How do I feel political?
Well, just what are
I
some
don't know.
opinions you've had? Like, what have you been thinking about lately that doesn't relate to sex or skateboarding?
Wow, that's a good question. Yeah, not much. Pretty much thinking about that all the time. Yeah.
If I'm not dropping in on a vert ramp, I'm dropping in on a bloke's ass.
Yeah.
But we were having this conversation earlier is like, how do you present yourself when you are a sex guy? Which, you know, to some extent, I would say that we both kind of fall into that category. We both have sex on the internet. Most people can't say that. We talked about the Hugh Hefner thing and the Dan Bilzerian thing and how it just feels like in this day and age, when you put yourself out there as a sex haver, that it's kind of hard for people to take you seriously. Or there's just like, there's an extent to which people just sort of think it's lame for you to be out here acknowledging that you're fucking a bunch of people on social media, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but that's them. I got to do me. It's what I want to do. Makes me real happy. So I do it.
Can I share with you guys one of these non-sexual, non-skateboarding thoughts I've been having?
Yeah.
Sure, please.
So recently I've been doing a lot of traveling, filming YouTube videos, vlogs, like out in public. And the one thing I've noticed is that you always notice when you're on a plane bound for LA. Everywhere else you go, you can't really tell. It's just a bunch of Midwest-looking, polo-wearing, modestly dressed women. But on the way to L.A., the last 2 flights I've had, that's where you get all the blue hair and the hashtag, blah, 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 just the whatever, like the wokesters. There was a guy, this row of people sitting behind us on a recent flight. One of the guys was wearing, like, half his gear was pink. He had the perm, and his hair was all long and curly. He had a pink hat that said Hollywood Cowboy. And they had a damn near full-sized emotional support dog in the aisle with them. It was a Labradoodle, a younger version of yours, basically, Adam. And at the end of the flight, when the whole time they were just being super loud and obnoxious and clearly LA, I couldn't tell if I was walking down the Sunset Strip or if I was 30,000 feet above the ground. But the Labradoodle at the end of the flight just takes a fucking shit in the aisle.
What?
Just shits in the aisle.
Yeah.
They half-heartedly take a couple of cocktail napkins and try to like wipe some of it up. But then they just bail with the dog and tell a stewardess, oh, by the way, Fluffy here had a little accident. And they're on their fucking way. Ugh. And that just made me kind of think about like, and then also on a flight last night, totally different flight, a guy was vaping the entire flight back to LA with us on the plane. Just fucking.
Nobody told him to stop?
Nobody told him to stop because the lights were dimmed. It was late at night. And it just made me realize that's kind of emblematic of the whole, like, my truth, believe all women, my pronouns or whatever I say they are. Like the really radical, like, I'm right, fuck anybody. I'm offended by your comedy set and I'm going to walk out right now. That sort of like gnarly subjectivism is embodied when you fly to LA by the people you see around you. How much less respectful they are because they're so wrapped up in their own shit.
I think that's fair. What kind of dog shit are we talking here? They like
Disgusting.
fully embed itself into the carpet?
Dude, bright green, like half solid, half diarrhea. And like they're trying to clean it up with a cocktail napkin, just made it way worse. Now it's way deeper in that Southwest carpet.
Wow.
And the corporations don't have the balls to say no to this shit because they're afraid of the cancel mob on Twitter. It all comes back to like the worst parts of California are embodied in these passengers on these planes.
It's like you got teleported to Skid Row, huh?
Yeah, like a hipster Skid Row.
Hipsters.
Fucking hipsters. Okay. Jason, appreciate you coming on.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Danny, thank you.
Yeah, good for you,
Sledgelords.
Danny. Thanks for having me.
Still the hostility. It's okay, Jason.
Well,
we'll make
you're
up.
good.
Well, thank
You're
you.
great.